So, here at number 5 we have one of my favourite games of all time, Starwing on the Super Nintendo. Why do I love this game so much? Well, I guess mostly because of the nostalgia factor with this one. I remember playing this with one of my best buddies in his, in his bedroom. Spend hours on the Super Nintendo, and this was one of the games that we played the most. I think for the time when this was released on the Super Nintendo, it was pretty amazing. With the graphics, using the Super FX chip, of course. It was just unbelievably good. So anyway, I'm just going to very quickly go into one of the first levels for you to have a look. Just such good fun, really, this game. It's quite easy, to be honest. Some people might say that it hasn't held up very well. Obviously, there's a version available on the N64 which I think has held up better. But really, for the date of release on this one, I still think, personally, that it's a good-looking game. Some great sound effects. The music's great. So yeah, I just love this game. Anyway, let's just show you a bit of gameplay here from stage 1. I always remember with these games that Slippy the Frog always seemed to be the one getting into trouble, to the point where it kind of got annoying. But here we go. Look, here he is doing a bit of doing some stunts there through those little tunnels. So anyway, it's a third-person shooter game, really, I suppose you could call it. You listen to that music in the background, it's just great. Some of these sprites, nice big sprites on the screen. What I will say about this game is that now and again you do get a little bit of slowdown if there's quite a few sprites on the screen at the same time, which is understandable, I guess. But I think this was basically one of the first games on the Super Nintendo to use the FX chip, and I think that FX chip really did kind of stand the Super Nintendo out from the crowd, particularly with the Sega Mega Drive, which didn't have that technology at the time. And then obviously Nintendo went on to use the FX chip for other such games. So here we go. Now you can kind of spin as well, like this, with the shoulder buttons. Oh. And what that does is, if anyone actually fires at you, then you can repel it using the spin. And here we go. This is the hare. His name evades me at the moment, but Slippy, isn't it? Not Slippy. No, what am I talking about? Anyway, just great classic gameplay. What else can I say about this game? It's just fantastic. Here we go. I'll just try and beat this boss first, and then we'll move on to number 4. The idea is to try and hit anything that's flashing red and yellow on the vehicle here. I've got 4 bombs. You can see that in the bottom right hand corner. There we go. We'll try and shoot these here. Maybe use a bomb. I missed that time. That wrong. Nevertheless. Here we go. So that's those 2. sections removed. So we'll try and get rid of that one. There we go, and it's just the main section remaining now. So we'll use a bomb there. There we go. So simple as that, really. So that's number 5 on my list. That's Starwing, known as Star Fox in the US, on the Super Nintendo. So number 4 on my list is Donkey Kong Country. Now obviously for the Super Nintendo there's actually 3 Donkey Kong Country games to choose from. But again, just from, I guess, a nostalgia perspective, Donkey Kong Country, the original, has to do it for me. So, great platform game. I'm just going to start a new game here very quickly, just show you a little bit more gameplay. So you've got the option on this particular game for, obviously, 1 player. You can have 2 players on here. I mean, this was just cutting edge. Obviously, a game by Rare. We all know back in the day for Super Nintendo, and I think particularly for the N64, used to make some truly fantastic games. You know, and this was absolutely up there with some of the best of them. But just some of these graphics, you know. First time I played this, I just couldn't believe it, how good it was. So yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. I'll show you some gameplay here. The idea, you know, it's just like your traditional sort of Nintendo platformer. Kind of run through the levels, collecting bananas, finding secrets, I guess. Just really good Nintendo platforming goodness. Here we go, there's one of the secrets I was talking about. If you haven't played this game before, I mean any of the games on this top 5 list of mine, if you haven't played any of these, then I would, you know, really recommend that you go out and pick these up. Obviously Super Nintendo games now are going up, you know, the skyrocketing in value. All you need to do is look on eBay to figure that one out, but might be worth buying it now as opposed to leaving it for another year or so, because I can only see the prices of these games going up further. So I'm just gonna do to the end of this level here, which is coming up very shortly. There we go. So there's the exit. So that's number 4 on my list, and that's Donkey Kong Country. Okay, so number 3 on my list. I have to say it was very, very difficult deciding which game would go in at number 3. I've got 2 driving games which I was looking at. And in the end I did decide to go with FZero for number 3. So this is basically a launch title for the Super Nintendo, and what it did, it really kind of demonstrated the Mode 7 capability of the Super Nintendo. And one of these, Captain Falcon and the Blue Falcon ship has always been one of my favourites in this game, so I generally tend to choose that car. So here we go. There's been many iterations of FZero since this one. There's been FZero X, I believe, which was on the N64. You know, we've had plenty of different games on the Game Boy Advance. FZero GX on the GameCube. But I think out of all of those games, this one for me, probably just again because of nostalgia, really at the top of the list for me. Fantastic music on this game. I can't say anything more about the music. It's just unbelievable. That good that it's been used in many of the other games as well. This, you know, there's different leagues that you can go into, and you know, they really do get tough towards the end. So I'll just finish this race, just show you a little bit of this gameplay, and then we'll move on to the next game. Just love the music. Probably looking at the graphics in this day and age, probably think to yourself, looking a little bit dated, but still, it's just wonderful as far as I'm concerned. If you haven't played this game, definitely give it a go. Incidentally, I'm playing all of these games on the original hardware on the Super Nintendo. I'm not using any sort of emulator for this. It's the only way to do it as far as I'm concerned. So flying here, do actually have some boosts available to me, which I'm using now. You can get some really good speed up. As you can see, this is pretty simple, this first level, although some of these cars here do get in the way now and again. I'll hold you up a little bit. Final lap now. This particular game, looking on eBay, is, you know, there's still a lot of copies up for sale out there. Sort of for a loose cart, maybe looking at £10 or so plus shipping perhaps, which I think's still fairly reasonable. In actual fact, the complete in box copies are not too bad. You'd probably pick it up for maybe £20 complete in box. So there you go, first place. So that is FZero, and that is number 3 on my list of favourite Super Nintendo games. So here's number 2 on my top 5 favourite Super Nintendo games, and it's Super Mario Kart. Wow, you know, how much did I play this game as a kid with friends? Hours and hours and hours. You know, you'd start at 9 o'clock at night maybe on a weekend, and then you'd look at your watch again and 3 o'clock in the morning. It's one of those types of games. Unbelievably addictive. Just love this game. Just going to show you some gameplay from the Grand Prix mode to start with. It's usually Toad here that I'd go for. Kind of got quite a good balance of attributes. So this game again, using the mode 7, just so much fun, so colourful. You're looking to purchase this game at the moment, it is going up in price a little bit. Probably buy the loose cart for maybe £15, something like that. Complete in box can be looking anywhere between £30 and maybe £35, something like that. But I have to say it's still worth it. Just love the game, love the music. Unbelievably good fun. Yeah, just going back to what I was saying before, there's the battle mode available in this game too, which out of all the Super Mario Karts that have been released, probably has the best battle mode. Again, hours of fun had on that when I was a kid. To the map screen. There we go. So that is number 2 on my favourite Super Nintendo's list, and that's Super Mario Kart. And here it is. Here's number 1 on my favourite top 5 Super Nintendo games of all time. This is Super Mario World, of course. Again, another launch title for the Super Nintendo. Game is huge, you know, so many different levels. I'm just going to show you one of the sort of first levels now. but just unbelievable. So colourful. You know, there's just something about this game, the music, the graphics, just a real sort of feel-good factor about the whole thing. You know, it's still classed as one of the best games ever to this day. It really has held up quite well over that, you know, over that period of time. Super good fun. I mean, just little things like this. I missed that there, but you know, the little bonus levels, which I'm not very good at, as you can see. Yep, not a single. You can usually get quite a few extra lives through that little bonus room there, but none this time. This is what we like here. Oh, and I'm dead. So, unfortunately. This game on eBay is again creeping up in price a little bit. You can pick a loose cart up for, I'd say about £12 to £15 at the moment. Again, I've got this complete in box, and my box is is in fairly mint condition. Box copy of this game probably take it to around £30 or something like that. That's the halfway marker, which also makes me into Super Mario, meaning I have an extra hit available to me. Ooh. Tough game this, you know, in the latter levels it really does start to get quite difficult. Really challenging, but at the same time really good fun, and because the controls are so great, it never really seems unfair when you actually you know, lose a life. Here we go, look, and there we go. We've lost Yoshi there. Oh dear. Try and drop down and get Yoshi here. Ooh. And we'll just leave him behind for now. There we go. There's the end of the level. So yeah, that's Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, which is my favourite game on the Super Nintendo. Number one, probably my favourite game of all time at the same time. So anyway, that's Retro Andy's top 5 Super Nintendo games. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, I am hoping to put some more out there. Please give me a like or even subscribe. Alright, bye bye.